Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday from Arnie's. Happy birthday to you. Woo!
Welcome to Arnie's birthday Zoom. One of my favorite people, and it's a privilege for me to celebrate a milestone birthday with Brock Spack, who needs no introduction to the Purdue football community, the Purdue community as well. Brock, welcome to your media highlight of your life, Arnie's birthday Zoom. I know you've been to Arnie's before in your life, but it's good to be 60 years old and still coaching football and still having the success that you're having. But happy birthday to you.
Well, thank you. It's great to be on, and I love Arnie's. Every time my wife goes over to West Lafayette, I tell her to bring me Arnie's Jr. and have the salad and the pizza. So yeah,
it's funny. I know people that actually get dry ice and ship Arnie's Juniors around. The Cohens have a good business over there, and they've done well. But but Brock, you had, and I always ask this question about whether growing up, and I assume you came from Rockford. Were you born in Rockford?
Yeah, I was born and raised there. Yeah, I was born and raised in Rockford.
Tell me about birthday traditions that you had as a family. Did you parents, probably didn't overindulge you? My guess is.
No, I didn't get spoiled. Let's put it that way. One thing, my mom, it's close to Christmas. Obviously, this is actually the 12th day of Christmas, right?
Yes.
And all of us in the Christian faith know this is a big day. And the three wise men came to Bethlehem today. This is the Christ child. And but in our house, my mom would keep Christmas up through my birthday. And then after Christmas, they take it down. And Amy kind of does the same thing. As I looked at the house and I left to come into work today, this is the last day, because we start tearing it down again. And our house is beautifully decorated, and I hate it when we have to start bringing it down. But we leave Christmas up through my birthday, and then and that's been our tradition. So Amy's carried it on.
So today, and you're a busy man, but special meals, anything that you do that's a tradition from that standpoint?
Yeah, my mother-in-law started one when I was at Purdue. When I was a player there. She's 92 now, so she can't probably do this, but she used to make. I love meatloaf, so meatloaf.
Yeah.
She made a big meatloaf and mashed potatoes and banana cream pie was what she had. And I know I'm going to get a call today. She's going to apologize. Oh, I'm so sad I can't do that. And I said, well, no problem. And that's always been her go-to. She kind of started that tradition when I was at the end of my playing career there, and she carried it on throughout our married life. So, but she's 92 now and probably can't get around the kitchen like she used to. But that was a tradition. Mm-hmm.
The great Sally Lavignette. They don't make them any better than Sally, and the Purdue community knows of her well. And I know her son-in-law. She's got a good son-in-law, so that's been a good thing.
She's great. So.
Yeah, and you've got two married children, and you're a grandfather of two, or do you?
Two, right? We have, Annie and Ellie, our two granddaughters. Annie will have her third birthday on the 19th of January coming up, and she was born on a perfect. Alicia was our operations director here.
Yeah,
and Alicia we were having a big weekend. It was a Friday and a recruiting weekend. And Alicia was part of all that, and she called from the hotel. I said, Dad, I think I got to go. The water just burst. I said, okay. So, but Annie was born on a recruiting weekend. That's apropos. And then Ellie was born in June, and I think June 5th is Annie's birthday, or Ellie's birthday. She's 7 months old, I believe. So doing really well. Love being a grandfather, and that's the coolest thing. I don't know if you are or not yet, but
not yet.
It's a cool. I never thought being a grandfather would be that cool a deal, but being a grandparent is unbelievable because you can spoil them and then give them back to the parents, which is great. Yeah. And I spend a lot. I don't, the girls live out in Connecticut now, but I miss them. But when they're here, I spoil the crap out of them. So we have a lot of fun with them.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that Brent and Alicia didn't get quite the same spoiling in your household as the
Grant no, they didn't get spoiled at all. Especially Brent, obviously, but yeah, they didn't get spoiled. Alicia was, they're both athletes.
What so FaceTime and Zoom are your friend then too with the grandkids? That's a good
Right.
thing.
FaceTime every morning. Alicia calls me every morning and
Wow.
puts the granddaughters on, and
Oh, that's awesome.
I just saw them about a couple hours ago, and but every morning I get on with them, and it's great. They change so much,
Yeah.
You don't get
Well,
to
it's
see
good.
that.
Yeah, it's the best part is you get a chance to with that you can see it look at it incrementally daily. That's pretty darn sweet. All right, your football life has been an amazing one. You're now is finishing your 12th year at Illinois State?
13th, going 13th, on 14.
Right. Who's counting?
Yeah, who's
89
counting?
and 60. You've been to the playoffs 5 times. You're going to be an Illinois State Hall of Famer. I know you don't like to hear stuff. Winningest coach this year, and yet it's never a dull moment in this coaching world today. To tell me about not only where you think your program is and what's looking ahead, but also some of the challenges we talked offline about the tsunami of transfer portal, NIL, COVID, all those wonderful things that have put those few gray hairs on your head.
Oh my God, yeah, it's never thought the last 18 months or so have been unbelievably stressful, and I'm not saying, because I know a lot of people have been going in a lot of, not just in football, but there's been a big change in football when it comes to rules and all that, and things that we're so used to doing we're not able to do now, and it's really changed it seemed like it changed overnight, and older guys like me don't really like that very much.
Yeah.
Changing our routine, and but I get it, but it's been very difficult, especially when you're there's a trickle effect, right? And there's a pecking order, and when we're at Purdue, that you're trying to beat the Notre Dames, Penn States of the world, and when you're here, you're trying to beat the MACs and the low level Big Ten schools of the world, or Mountain West, whatever, and it's getting harder and more difficult to do that, and particularly when. And we've really benefited from transfers here.
Yeah,
we've always kind of sprinkled. I remember Coach Tiller, when he was alive, we were coaching at Purdue. You were always in the. He said, "We'll always be in the junior college market there."
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't take a whole bunch of guys.
Yeah.
We'd always be in the market, and we were always in the transfer market here. We had a kid named Trey Roberson, came from Indiana.
Right.
He was a great player.
He
changed this overnight. He's a dynamic athlete. He plays in the CFL. He's one of the best corners now in the CFL. He had a stop with the Bears and got hurt and went back to the Canadian Football League, but was a great athlete. But we benefited from a kid like that. But now Trey Roberson probably isn't going to walk through our door again, because Trey Roberson's going to have options. He can go play at a MAC school, a Mountain West school, or another Big Ten school and not sit out. Well, we had to sit out, but he wanted to play right away. So he had to come here and drop down. And that led to us. I've had kids from Oklahoma, I had kids from Texas, a lot of kids from Wisconsin. We have one kid from Wisconsin now, and he signed for $35 million this last year, and he was a great player. But he, we don't get those guys now because those guys can go anywhere,
Yeah.
And so that's changed a little bit. That dynamic, we can find them, but you have to work them hard. And what I don't like about it is what it's done to high school recruiting. We can sit here and talk about this all day, but the negative effects it's have on high school coaches, my friends in Indiana and kids that, all the people around Chicago and Illinois that we've worked so hard to have relationships with, they're really angry, not at us particularly, but at our profession right now, college coaches, because we're not recruiting their schools.
Yeah.
We'll come in, we'll listen, but we're in the portal. And you got to say, Coach, it's not our problem. It's the NCAA made this rule. And you got to understand, am I going to go take an offensive lineman that's got 3 years left? He's already 310 pounds, or I might take your guy who's 240, and we got to wait 3 years to get him there. And it's just, it's obvious. You can answer the question, right? I mean, it's obvious what you're going to do. And we try to stay high school based, but it's difficult because it's tempting to go get a kid that's ready made. And when I first came here, junior college recruiting wasn't as good for us because there's a pecking order, right? And guys that fell to us had a lot of baggage, either academically or they weren't good enough players. So our JC here was the Big Ten.
Yeah.
You know, I had a lot of connections in the Big Ten. We went and got Big Ten transfers. They came down, ended up being really good players here because they've been in Division I programs. They're good students. You know, and they want to play. That's why they're going to come down and play. But now those guys are hard to find because everybody wants those guys now, and they can go anywhere. So that's kind of changed. But what's kind of changed for us is now what's available to us in the junior college market because the junior college market's a lot different for us now because those guys aren't being recruited as heavily as they used to be.
Yeah.
And there's some high school kids that are falling to us now that you never get a chance to get in on. I mean, I'm very close with George Smith at Fort Lauderdale St. Thomas. You know, he's a Central Catholic guy there in Lafayette.
Yeah.
He's now fully retired, but the new coach there is, he and I have a very good relationship as well. And they've called me 3 times in the last month, begging us to take this guy. I said, George, this guy's going to be gone. They said, no, all the scholarships, he has no offers. It's stunning. The guy, and that's probably the hard part about this. You know, I'm not going to do this forever, obviously, but it just doesn't seem right. And how are we going to continue to go down this road? But you're cutting off the supply from high school, you know, and kids are going to get discouraged and maybe not play football anymore, you know, and I worry about that a little bit. You know, this rule there's been an effect of this rule that's really been damaging, you know, it's really damaged high school recruiting. So that's a big worry. I know we could talk about that forever.
Well, it's just interesting from a compensation standpoint, or how, you know, rules tend to, you know, things, I guess the pendulum swings certain ways, but like you said, the pendulum or the teeter-totter went all the way to the bottom very quickly this year, and it's going to be hard to hit enough weight on the other side to get it back to being balanced. I mean, that's the challenge, is that, you got to have some level of reasonableness here, and it seems to me it's going to be very, very difficult to attain.
Well, you think about, you know, all my years I lived in West Lafayette. I think you think about this, you know, we love the place, and we all do, but it's not Columbus, Ohio. It's not Madison, Wisconsin, you know, and when you talk about NIL, you know, what opportunities, you go down to Indianapolis, right? I mean, what opportunities are going to be there for a kid, you know, and are you going to have the same benefits that Georgia Tech has in Atlanta? You know, so I don't think people have thought this through, you know, and, you know, I can't imagine what it's like in Manhattan, Kansas, where Kansas State's at, you know, and I'm all for athletes, you know, earning money and having a chance to do well, but there has to be some medium ground, you know, where we can meet kind of halfway, because I don't know where this is going to go. You know, you saw the big rush, and, you know, some of these guys making $1 million, and that's the exception, not the rule, as you know. And all of a sudden, these guys didn't play, and now they're moving on to other places. You know, if I'm a corporation, if I'm sponsoring a guy like that, why would I do that? I mean, it's just kind of what happened in the NFL draft, right? The NFL draft, you know, back 10, 12, 15 years ago, we're taking these great college quarterbacks and putting $120 million into guys never throwed a ball in the NFL. And none of them, so a lot of them were busts. And then they put a cap on that. And you know, the guys who've been there 9, 10 years who deserve that kind of money aren't getting that kind of money. You're paying a guy to come in here that's never thrown a ball at this level, you know, and it's the same thing, in my opinion. You know, it's very similar. And where's the collegiality and the college feel? It feels like professional athletics now. And it just, I don't know. It's uncomfortable, you know, and we're doing things now that used to be illegal. And it's hard for us to get around what's legal and what's not legal now. And this idea, well, NIL, you can, you know, you look at what happened at BYU as far as, you know, a corporation comes in there and gives everybody a scholarship, you know, everybody a tuition based on working for the company, right? Yeah. Including walk-ons. Well, you're not supposed to, as a go-between, the athletic department or the coaching staff isn't supposed to broker that deal. Now, where do you think they came up with that idea? I mean, we all got to figure and think, someone came up with the idea somebody in the corporate world came up with that idea on their own. I mean, come on. I mean, so I just think it's going to be out of control until we kind of get a grasp of what all this is. But it's been a crazy, you know, 18 months. You're right. And college coaching's really changed. At least the seat I sit in, we were talking off the air. What I wish the most about coaching is coaching. Right now, I don't do a lot of that as much as I used to. And Coach Tiller always used to say that when you become a head coach, your coaching career is over with because all you're doing is administration work, and now with all this other stuff, it's hard to coach. And I miss coaching linebackers. And I'll tell you that's kind of why I got in this business. But it's been a challenge for all of us in college coaching.
As much as you love football and birthdays are times when you kind of take stock of things. Could you see yourself even in your 70s where you love coaching football, coaching high school, or going coaching linebackers at a college, at a small college in Wisconsin? Would that be a great end to what you're doing, assuming that college football is still the way or high school football is still what it is 10 to 15 years from now?
Yeah, I think high school has become difficult because the parents, it's made it real difficult. If you ask me how I'd like to go out, I'd probably do coach college linebacker somewhere. That would be, but I don't know. It'd have to be for the right guy, in the right situation. The money out there right now, at least Division I football, is absolutely ridiculous. Crazy. And I had a friend of mine back in 19 offer me a job, and I said, "How much are you gonna pay me?" I was just stunned, and I said, I'm not gonna do that. But because it's one thing I learned about Coach Tiller, it's not the money. Don't chase the greenbacks, but it's about the job. And if I go back, I'd love to, in a perfect world, if you ask me a perfect world, but I'd love to coach linebackers one more time before I hang the whistle up. But I don't know if I'll do that or not. But that's what I'd probably like to do. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to guess that. I know people have been interested in you, and when the timing's right, I hope you have that opportunity. All right, now the Purdue family, and you're kind of the poster child of, and yet I know you've had an esteemed career outside of Purdue, but still your friends, the Bart Burrows of the world, and others that you played with. Tell me about what, and even all the coaches and all your years working with Joe Tiller and even Jim Colletto. Look back at your 60th birthday and you say, boy, that's a pretty good life in terms of a really great network of people. And that Purdue mentality is, you're the personification of Purdue Pete, I always said. But that friendship and all those folks that have been in your life, that's something to reflect on a day like today.
I'm very fortunate. A lot of people want to worry about what they don't have. And I look back and kind of the glass is half full and say what I do have and things that happened to me there. How it ended there for me and I moved on. Everybody thinks I have this ill will. I have none. I really don't. I have a storied career. I was an all Big Ten linebacker there. I was a captain and married a pom-pom girl, and it was
pretty good.
It was like Camelot, right? I mean, we raised our kids there basically, and I had a great career there, and really loved it. I mean, there's no human being walking the earth that's been to more bowl games at Purdue than I have. If you look back to that, I've been to 12 bowl games. I don't think there's anybody that's been to that many bowl games at Purdue as a player and coach. And to go through all that, our kids with this time of year at Christmas time was what bowl game we were going to, and it became a fixture in our life, and it was an unbelievable part. We lived on Hamilton Street over at University Farms, and we always talk about the times and the friends we made there. Now we're all gone now. The friends are everywhere, but we're still really good friends and outside of my football life. But I've had an unbelievable life. I have great teammates. I've talked to several of them. They were nice enough. I did a lot of Zoom. I did some things with our football team in preseason this year. It was different. I haven't called upon former players here or at Purdue to come talk to our team, but I did that and had Chris Prince, if you remember Chris. I remember Chris. And talked about the benefits of football and the life lessons of football and how that affected him and his life as a FBI or CIA agent. And
Yeah.
So it was really, it was really kind of cool to having Stu Schweiger or some of those kind of guys. I had Roosevelt Colvin come on, and Rob Ninkovich was great.
Yeah.
He made these guys laugh. He told a story about being cut by Sean Payton, and I can't tell you a story because colorful language involved, but it was awesome. And then I had some former players here, and
Yeah.
but the life I've lived and the relationships I've had through Purdue and to this day, my best friends are from Purdue and from coaching at Purdue.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Bart Burrow. Bart's been a when we were playing together, he was obviously a lot older than I was. He was a senior and I was a freshman, and
Yeah.
but we became friends after that was all over. When he was an AAU coach with Amy and my daughter Alicia, he was our kids' AAU coach. We became pretty good friends, and our kids went to West-Side together, and he has invested a lot of my money, and he's done a really good job of it. And for all you out there who need a financial advisor, I'd highly recommend him.
Don't get any better than him.
No, he's really, really good. And but we've become very good friends. Bart went through the issue with amyloidosis in his heart, and that was one year we went the run to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
And we took Amy and we took the girls with us to the Rose Bowl. And when Bart was up in Mayo Clinic, and I think we had a bond there, and it was a lot of fun. And but yeah, I've had great friends there, and still do, and hold no ill will towards Purdue University. Love it there, and we'll always will.
Yeah, no doubt. What last question? Just your coaching tree, because you've got some outstanding people that the Lamar Kennards of the world, and the Taylor Stubblefields and Billy Dicken, and I'm missing some, I'm sure, that have been on your staff. But what satisfaction? I mean, you're coaching coaches, and you're putting out the next generation of guys that are going to have to deal with some of the tsunami of challenges that the Taylor Stubblefield I know is going to be a head coach someday, I would think, in high Division I football, or he seems like he's got that all the qualities. But what's your message to those guys and your coaches as you continue to kind of be the mentor to those folks?
Well, I have a lot of Taylorisms in me, and some really good, and some not so good, and but a lot of Taylorisms. One thing he would always tell us, I told you this offline when we were off camera, was he always say, "Man, if you chase the almighty buck, you're going to be really, really disappointed."
Yeah.
And it's become that in our profession right now. And I tried to hold true to that and not make a decision based on money alone. Obviously, we want to make good livings, and we want to have solid retirements and all that stuff, but you want to chase the job, not necessarily the money. Because if you chase the money, you're going to be really unhappy. He always tell us that.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys that left the program, they'd say, "Stay where you're at," and a lot of guys would tell me that. And I think that's the one thing I think that I advise coaches now, because the money is absolutely outrageous, and especially at FBS level and Power 5. It's great, but with that comes a lot of, they're willing to buy you out and send you down the road quickly. Understand that, and there comes a price to be paid for that, and so chase the job, not necessarily the money, and enjoy coaching, because I don't know how many guys really do that right now. It seems like it's a race to be a millionaire and to be financially solvent as a coach. And this is a very insecure profession, always has been. But we got into it. I got into it anyways for not to be a millionaire. It was to be a football coach, because I love football. And I think I listened to Kurt Herbstreit, and when he said it on New Year's Day, I said, "Oh boy, this is going to be interesting." But he's right. I really. The hard part now about being a coach is finding people that love football.
Yeah.
And not just football players, but football coaches. And because are they chasing the money? Or are they doing it for the right reasons? Because you love football. And I think the guys who love football and they're passionate about it do a much better job, and they're in it for the profession, not necessarily the money. And I think that's what I would be advised, guys. I know this is a long answer, but that would be my advice to young coaches, you know. And I've had a lot of good young coaches here that moved on. You mentioned Lamar and Taylor. The sky's the limit for guys like that, because they're very bright, and they're good young coaches, great bright minds, and I can be a hard guy to be around sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, and I get that, you know, but that's, you know, I think they need to understand that that's part of the process of becoming a coach. It's not necessarily chasing the money, but, you know, chasing the opportunity of being a coach and being in the profession. So that would be my advice to them. You know, chase the profession, chase the job, not the money.
Well, I appreciate on your birthday that you're giving that sage advice, and anybody that watches this should take that under advisement. And from a guy that's been there and a guy that's had a lot of success at Illinois State, at Purdue, as a player, as a coach, and as a person, and that. And at the end of the day, I couldn't agree with you more. That is how we're going to be judged, so to speak.
Hey, I love football, and I want guys around me to love football. It's that simple. Yeah. I tell my team that, and if you don't love football and you put that in jeopardy, you know, then you're putting yourself in jeopardy. Being, you know, I have been asked a lot, how do you motivate the unmotivated? You eliminate them.
Yeah.
And if you don't love football, you can't tell me you love football and you're not going to class. You can't tell me you love football and you're not working out, or you're late to workouts, or you're doing things that are going to put that in jeopardy. So, and coaches are no different. You gotta love football. You gotta love the profession. So,
all right. Well,
more so than the money.
All right, I'm hearing you. I think it's excellent and well articulated. All right, have a great rest of your birthday.
Hey, I appreciate
your family, and we just appreciate your time, Ben. And we will look forward to watching the Redbirds in 2022, and to make a run in not only in your league but hopefully to the playoffs as well. But it'll never be a dull moment in coaching. But no. that much we know. So hey, have a great rest of your birthday. Thanks to Arnie's. I know that Brad Cohen would like to ship you 4 or 5 pizzas today if you could get it over 180, 150 miles over the plane, so to speak.
Great stuff.
All right, great, and thanks again, and we appreciate you being a guest on our Arnie's birthday Zoom.
Hey, boiler up, everyone, and hi to all my friends. And I'm not very good at calling people, but I love all you guys and gals.
All right, we'll pass it along. Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye-bye.